Hello and welcome back to this course of videos on MongoDB. In this video we'll be looking at updating multiple documents within a collection at the same time, and within these documents updating the embedded objects that are embedded within arrays. So before we look at updating, let's just go back to looking at our find method, and look particularly I would like to query here the quantity field within the orders array, and let's say we use dot notation to go from the main field, which is orders, and the dot notation takes us drills into this array, and then the quantity. And we'll want to look at the quantities that are greater than or equal to 2. Now, if you notice, we don't actually specify here which object within the array we want to query. So if you notice here, within this array, we have two objects, the 0th object and the first object. In the second order, we just have the array just has one object, and in the third, we have two. So we're not specifying, we are just saying orders.quantity. Now, we can specify a particular, I could specify the 0th. Now if I do this, it will return no records because it will only be looking at the 0th object within each array, and none of these 0th objects have a quantity of 2. So run this, you'll see it returns nothing. However, if I actually leave this without any reference, it returns all, whether the quantity of 2 is in the first or second or nth object within the array, it will return all the records. So Mongo is being quite forgiving to us here. Now, with updates, it's a slightly different story. So if we just look at this update query here, we're using the update method now. As you can see, the first parameter that we're passing is exactly the same as the parameter we just used to query. After the dot, we are not referencing which particular object within the array we want to update. We're saying, please look at all of the objects within the orders array. However, when I go to set, I have to be specific about which object within the array I want to update. So, and I'll explain what this $sign means here in a second. But what I'm saying is, well, I'm using my set operator here, and so I'm saying within the orders field, for anywhere where the order quantity is greater than or equal to 2, I'm going to add a new field to the orders array called multi. And I'm going to set that multi, it actually should be true. I'm saying if there's greater than or equal to 2, I want it to recognize within the order that this is an order with multiple quantities. So that should be true. But you see, I do have to put this reference in. I could put a 0 or a 1 or an n, not specifically an n, but any type of number depending on which objects within the orders arrays I wanted to update. But I want to be able to update any objects within the orders array that has a quantity of greater than or equal to 2. So like I said, with the find, we just put orders dot and then the quantity field name, and that addressed to any object within the array. However, here we have to specify, but because I want to target all of them, this $sign actually is looking at your selection criteria. So when I say $, this is saying, okay, please update all objects within each array, each orders array, where the order quantity is greater than or equal to 2. This is what a actually represents. So if we run this query here, it won't actually run exactly how we're expecting, but it will illustrate the point. So if I run this now, it updated one record, which is interesting because there was two documents that had the order quantity of greater than or equal to 2. So let's look down here, and we can say, great, my new multi-field has been added to my orders array for this first document. The second document doesn't have an order with a quantity of 2. The third document does, but our field wasn't added here. Now, here's one difference between Mongo and SQL databases, is by default it will only update the first document in the collection. If we want to update more than one document, we actually have to add an extra object, and in there we will put multi and true. So this is telling Mongo we don't just want to update one document, we want to update all documents where the orders array has a quantity of greater than or equal to 2, and this multi-true will allow us to update more than the one document. So I'm going to Control and Enter. You can see now 2 records have been updated. And if I go and view my documents, I can see, yeah, this is the one that was added the first time, but now we've actually added multi as well to our second, to our third document here. So that is the multi-true parameter that I've passed in here. And as previously, I can unset this quite simply by changing this to unset, and then the orders.multi, instead of changing it to true, I'm just saying that I want to remove the field, so I change this to 1, and multi-true I still need to keep, and it says it's updated 2 records. If I close this down and I reopen my customers field, you can see that now the multi fields are gone for our orders, our 2 orders with quantity of 2. So that is the dollar operator here, which is actually called a positional operator, and then the parameter we're passing here, multi of true. Just to illustrate MySQL side, on MySQL, unlike Mongo, the default is to update all records. So in this particular update statement, any email address that was found to be james@gmail.com would be updated to jimmy@gmail.com. Every single row where this occurred would be updated. So that's the default. So to change from the default, instead of here where I actually added multi equals true, we go the opposite way, and we would have to say limit of 1, or limit however many you wanted to limit the updates. So I hope that gives you a good understanding of updating multiple documents within a collection and updating embedded objects. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.